Hello? Are we live? Hello? I'm gonna go with yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Trups LP, and welcome to the Moisky Live's August 28th edition of the Political Recap. Again, my name is Trups LP, and I am joined with the lovely and schmexy Omegon. Say hello, Omegon.
I think you timed that just right, by the way.
Did
Because
I'm
the reason why is
fantastic.
it was still buffering to say you're live, and it just as you said, hello, it seemed to pop on my end. So, fingers crossed, it's included.
Go team.
Oh, and hello, Megon.
Yes. How is Omegon?
It's been an up and down week, swings and roundabouts. I guess.
Oh, I understand.
It's been a long one, but I have come to a conclusion.
Well,
thou shalt not engage with the clot. One shall move on and ignore, which I think is better for business and my mental health. Yes. But yeah, I got like a guitar back. Starting a new project on one of my other ones because there's two more I really want to do some work on, and I was also polishing up some practice, which I'll actually finish tomorrow because I created a studio on my server for music, and people can sort of have a club if they want as well. Well, I also want to include like people playing their own riffs or other riffs, and just posting pictures of their instruments perhaps, or jam a little bit. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I'm going to post something tomorrow, hopefully, on there, if it goes well.
Indeed.
How's Trups LP?
Trups LP is. I wish my fucking work schedule would go back to normal.
How long do you think this will last?
I don't know.
F in the chat for Trups LP. Oh, and say hello to the chat, Trups LP.
Hello to the chat. Hello, chat. How are you, chat? How is the chat? Is the chat doing good?
Yeah.
We talked about ourselves. How's the chat?
Yeah, they seem alright.
Oh, that's good.
I think so.
So we've got basically a big topic of American news this week, and we're gonna kind of try to stay on topic on this one because there's a lot to talk about, and I think it's relevant, and I think it's important that everybody basically hears it.
Yeah, you're right. Let's talk Brexit. All these pictures you see on the slideshow right now are basically it's just the United Kingdom burning. Okay, it's Brexit. Okay, it's all Brexit.
No. It's pronounced Kenosha.
Right. Sorry, I thought it was conniption.
Yeah. That's fine.
And yes, I'm printing. I do apologize, Cyrene, and to anyone else who hears the whirring and whining of my printer over the meowing of the cat, who hid under my bed. And if you're a patron on my Discord server, you'll see this, a picture of a cat hiding under my bed because the hail was so big I could have used it to make a rather thick slush puppy.
Yes.
But yes, we're not going to talk about Brexit. Okay, obviously it's a joke. We don't have Spirit LED development stores in our country, okay? Looking at the screen.
Yes, these things. All right, so what we're going to talk about is Kenosha. Now,
what is Kenosha, by the way? Where is Kenosha? I don't even know where it is.
Kenosha is a fucking like suburb, an hour away from Milwaukee, which is like the only important place in Wisconsin that people know about. But it's in Wisconsin, and it's just a town. It's a random fucking place. Like it's not a major city. It's actually more of a vacation area. Like people have just been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost a pass through, but so on Sunday there was an incident involving some police officers and a now not dead shooting of a, I'm going to use air quotes, but you can't see me, so quote unquote unarmed black man, which culminated in the man being shot 7 times in the back.
Is that true, though?
The man's name is Jacob Blake. I'm sorry?
Is that true? Was he unarmed?
Well, so, not according to him.
Oh! Wait, what?
Alright, so, the background, the context, cops receive a 911 call, about a man who's basically in a place where he shouldn't be because of former domestic abuse, and the woman whom he had also sexually assaulted had basically gotten into an altercation with the gentleman and apparently another woman, but that one seems to be just what Jacob had said.
Right.
And so the police show up with a warrant for his arrest. There's a tussle. There's some fighting on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the two officers had fired their tasers. At some point, the gentleman said that he did have a knife, according to an eyewitness testimony. Literally, Jacob Blake saying that to the officers. And the video, which has been circulating around Twitter, Facebook, and every mainstream media, the one from the balcony perspective, where you see Jacob Blake casually walking around a vehicle, opening up the driver's side door, leaning into said driver's side door, all while the cops are behind him, guns drawn, saying, "Get down on the ground. Get down on the ground."
Before you continue, if to anyone in the chat, I made the slideshow and I went to Google searched Kenosha riots. Any image that crops up was what that image result gave me. If any of them is in fact from Chicago, like April Huffman may well be indicating, I do apologise. I will happily take the L on that one and stand corrected for any images that are not correct to the subject matter.
Think of it more like a Google image slideshow.
Yeah, Google's version of what Kenosha looks like is apparently parts of burning Chicago.
I mean, they're mostly the same thing, right?
And Trups is indoctrinated. Trups is indoctrinating Meg. Doubt. We disagree on things.
Who do you think I watched before I started up my YouTube channel again?
Oh. Cancel
Oh.
Trups.
Oh well.
Sorry, please
Anyways,
continue.
so yeah, after he reached into the driver's side, away from the cop's vision, they shot him 7 times in the back.
And he survived this, did he?
He did. He's paralyzed though.
I'd heard about that. Is it waist down he's paralyzed, or is it full on?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Okay.
That is what it appears to be, yes.
Okay. Well, that's really unfortunate that he is paralyzed. But if I'm going to have to teach him something, it must be what I teach my 6-year-old niece, and an 8-year-old boy. Consequences. If you throw a rock at your sister's head and she has to have her head glued together and then stay awake for 48 hours because she has a concussion, chances are you did something wrong, and I know how to tell you how the brain works. Or if you're my niece, please stop smearing things in places they don't need to be smeared. I'm sick of disinfecting the house. Consequences. And for him, it's perhaps not doing what you just did.
Well, there are certain points where I fully understand when people say like, oh, if you're going to basically say that you're not going to listen to police, like there's a certain amount that I do understand, rebelling against authority and whatnot. About the point where they pull out the gun,
Yeah.
is usually the point where you go,
Yeah.
is my moment of, indignant refusal to follow authority worth my death?
It's a tough question to answer.
Well, I mean, just personally, I think that's about the point that I might go, all right, the jig is up. All right, hands up. I won't do it. Right?
So
Somewhere
responsible.
around then. But also, when you consider that I've also just, if I am Jacob Blake in this circumstance, I've also just fought and resisted arrest from two cops on the ground, and you know, uh, I still apparently have the warrant for the arrest and all these other important uh, situations when looking at the scenario surrounding Jacob Blake in particular. The whole, hey, by the way, you have a warrant for your arrest of domestic abuse and
I
sexual assault.
I do want to say I am very happy that that he's not dead, because that just, and that he will make a yes, he will not have full mobility, of course. Although paralyzed waist down doesn't, they haven't, have they said well, you answer this. I have not seen anywhere saying it's a permanent paralyzation. Whether or not it can be something that can be fixed over time, perhaps, I don't know. But if he had passed away, this would just be even worse.
Oh yes, absolutely. Um, Especially because the killing of an unarmed black man is really what it's all about, right? It's so much easier to use a martyr who dies, because then you can pretend to say what they want to say.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
um and then you don't have to worry about those pesky things like testifying or you know facts. At least that's what the nature of the situation has been. But of course, that video circulated on Twitter, and garnered a round two of protests.
Didn't Biden
Round
comment
three?
on this? Didn't Biden comment
I'm
on it?
sorry.
Oh, hang on a second. Tilly donated £5.50. You fucker. Smash the like for meow. Thank you,
Yeah,
Tilly. You shit, for the £5
thank you.
50 donation. But I recall seeing politicians comment on this. I don't know if Biden was one of them, or was he commenting on something
I'm not
else?
sure. I'm not sure, but
I'll check.
I know that there have been several left-wing pundits lately who have been making comments, that the riots are bad for business, bad for the polls.
Okay, he condemns
They
the violence, needless violence, in the aftermath of the shooting, and that he talked to the family of Jacob Blake, and that
yes,
justice will
who were
be
present,
done.
by the way.
Justice must and will be done. Thing is, what kind of justice are you referring to? All the officers in irons and chains here, or something? A guillotine, perhaps? I've seen a few of those circulating again. I don't know what you think justice is. Nothing. None
No
of it.
one.
Nothing will
These
placate
left-wing
those.
protesters don't have a true sense of what justice is. They have their justice, and their justice is corrupt. Their justice is fascist.
I'll be honest, they're fighting the fascists, but in their of itself, in and of it themselves, they are also and can be
Oh,
considered
absolutely. They
right.
use authoritarian measures to basically, abuse and convince other people
Mm-hmm.
through violence and intimidation. Like, remember once upon a time we had a discussion over the definition of what a domestic terrorist is, and
Yes.
we had brought it up on several different occasions about different people. Um, but in this case, Black Lives Matter is quite literally using fear and intimidation to advance their political belief, and it, it it's almost worse than the other things that we have seen, because you could argue that Antifa was never a fully flushed out organization with a charter or rules or anything, but rather a loose collection of different groups, that consider themselves anti-fascist and all that kind of stuff, who would go to these marches mostly to rebel against the Proud Boys and people of the sort. But if you look at Black Lives Matter, they have an actual charter, um, and let me check this shit out. And they are actually sponsored, and they have funding, um, from major corporations.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, let me see here. I'm going through. Do, 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 do. Do, do.
See, Beth, I tend to agree. Violence pretty much has dictated so much of human history, so I can understand that. And yes, you have the right to protest. I think it's a rather interesting state of affairs when I don't know. It's I don't know. It's. I feel like many of us think we're getting to a point where we don't need to use violence, and others are like, "Nah, fam, we're just gonna smash you up now." And it's really disheartening because I genuinely don't believe we need to use violence in this to accomplish any of the goals, really. But the issue really is that many aren't interested in working together. They just want silence while they get what they want. It's very. What is it when people just refuse to budge in politics? What is that word? Um, it's not bipartisan, is it? No, it's the opposite, isn't it?
I just would call it stubborn.
Sure, bloody minded, probably even better.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really tricky thing because I don't know. In the UK, yes, we've had some protests, and I'll be honest, they were nothing because for the most, I'd say about 90 to 95% obeyed the law of the land. And it's because I believe many of them still, and I was going to mention some of it earlier with BLM actually in the UK, where some were trying to. One guy, very well known on Twitter, is it Femi? He was arguing about about the songs like Rule Britannia and all that, and yet he himself admitted he doesn't listen to the show. What's the show called? I can't remember the name of the show. It was a BBC classical music thing show. I can't remember the bloody name either, because I don't watch it either. But they didn't play these two songs, Rule Britannia, and I can't remember the other one either. Because again, it's not something it features, and even he conceded doesn't even listen to them. And he was trying to argue against Farage and Piers Morgan about this, about dealing with racism, and yet he himself has conceded he doesn't even listen to this stuff. I just don't know. I don't know. It seems so odd and stubborn, like you said, to just argue blindly but not fully understand what you're doing, which I find really weird. Did you find what you're looking for, by the way?
Not exactly, but this is part of the actual Black Lives Matter what we believe, and it does mention that
The
4 years
prawns.
ago, what is now known as the Black Lives Matter Global Network began to organize. It started out as a chapter based, member led organization whose mission was to build local power and to intervene when violence was inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. I'm skipping the next one. Uh, where's the fucking part that I want? Oh, Black Lives Matter began as a call to action in response to state-sanctioned violence and anti-Black racism. Our intention from the very beginning was to connect Black people from all over the world who have a shared desire for justice to act together in their communities. The impetus for that commitment was and still is the rampant and deliberate violence inflicted on us by the state. And it says, I'm trying to look for the Black Lives Matter global network is as powerful as it is because of our membership, our partners, our supporters, our staff, and you. Our continued commitment to liberation for all Black people means we are continuing to work of our ancestors and fighting for our collective freedom because it is our duty. So that's more or less there, and then they actually have chapters. They actually they have a thing on their website for chapters.
Do they?
They do. Apparently, there's one in. I'm going to assume that's Portland. L.A. Looks like Nashville,
Hmm.
D.C., New York, a bunch in Michigan for some reason.
I'm sure they got good reason. Oh, and as the chat pointed out, the show I was referring to is called Last Night of, well, the Proms. And yes, they play some fantastic music. I've only listened to it a few times, though. But yeah, interesting. Okay, so back to the story of what's happened.
Right, so, yes. So basically, after this video went and circulated, we had a whole bunch of basically just rioting from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unlike the George Floyd protest, this one was pretty centralized in Kenosha. But the important part is that it was just as bad, if not worse, than some of it never like slowed down because it went to a different place. No, it kept the same intensity from Portland and just moved it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is basically why you see Kenosha rioting. Oh, and CNN has done a lovely job making a complete ass of themselves. The one that was the picture that was going on Twitter for all of yesterday or so had a picture of a CNN reporter standing in front of a burning building and a chyron underneath him that says fiery but mostly peaceful protest.
I had that picture in this slide set, but I couldn't get it scaled correctly. So it created a weird set of angles. That is the single stupidest thing. It's the same as the one of the it was the Portland one as well, wasn't it? Or was it the one in Arizona, Scottsdale, where someone did that as well?
Pretty good too.
Yeah, and Tiana, thank you very much for the $10 sticker. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes. So, what was the thing? I was talking about Kenosha. Then you asked me a question. I completely forgot what I was saying.
I think you were just up to the part where we mentioned that it's Kenosha. I honestly didn't even know this place existed.
Me either, to be honest.
With the the protesting, what happened? Did the governor or the mayor or whoever step in and say this needs to stop? Was there any federal involvement? Was there a national state of emergency?
So yes, those things did happen. I believe it was the mayor had specifically requested 1,500 National Guardsmen with police power to step in.
Okay.
And it was granted. They don't like what's happening, the people in Wisconsin, and they're trying really hard. I mean, the people in Kenosha are trying really hard to not make their city turn into Portland, because I mean, if you really look at it, people don't want this kind of shit.
No, they don't. And I understand that. You've seen the destruction, and yes, I know the bigger issue. Someone might mention this. You're just talking about destruction of property. You're not talking about the bigger issue. The bigger issue is the real concern. Actually, yes, it is and isn't, because you're destroying other people's livelihoods to make your message, but then you're leaving destruction in your wake. You are tearing down people's lives because because you can, or because they don't agree with you. It's not like the people who surrounded a woman at a restaurant and demanded she put her fist in the air and declare support for Black Lives Matter. You're bullies. And
Absolutely.
And that is unacceptable. And by the way, I don't believe she kowtowed. I don't know if she kowtowed. I only saw a small clip, so I don't know if she kowtowed. Burning people's shops, burning down people's homes. The only thing you're doing is increasing the homeless rate and the chances of people going hungry, poor, losing everything essentially for your own message, which I can support a message, I cannot support the action that destroys everything. And this is being rinsed and repeated in other places. It doesn't end with you getting your message across positively. It just makes you look like domestic terrorists, which is what you're going to get called not so far in the future if you don't stop, if you haven't already been declared as such. It's just... And while it is wise to make such a point about tackling certain inequalities, because we did go through that. Remember the Chad list of demands? Some of that was reasonable, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember like there was obviously there were few and far between, but yes, there were actually like good ones in there, yeah.
And Pincalo, the driving it, makes actually the other point I was going to go on to. People talk about insurance. Forgetting here, unless I'm mistaken it, insurance companies don't like paying out, and if they can find a reason not to, they won't. I'm sure many of you in the US have had issues with medical insurance. Yeah, it's quite common for insurance companies to find a loophole here, and they'll find it because they have someone that works in a explicit department solely so they don't. Just because someone can rebuild doesn't give you the right to destroy it. Because all you're doing.
Not only that, but it's not yours to destroy.
No, it's not. And the amount of businesses you...
This is something that I had actually found, because I remember people talking about it earlier in the month. I'm going to put it in stream sources just because, you might want to talk about it at some point.
I might want to look at it, yeah.
But a Black Lives Matter organizer, Ariel Atkins, called the looting in Chicago reparations.
Oh, I saw this. This is so stupid.
And this is a person who is literally an organizer of the Black Lives Matter protests.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that the people out there who are committing crimes are doing so under the guise of an organization that you would deem peaceful in all their exploits?
Yeah.
Or at least you would believe them to have a righteous cause? While this is a thing that they have said, I'm sorry, but nobody is entitled to the fruits of others' labor. Nobody is entitled to just be able to go in and reappropriate. This is mine now. This also kind of ties into taxes, but at least there's an argument for taxes because you use them.
Before I forget, Pincala, thank you for the $2 donation. And Tiana, you're quite right. The insurance shouldn't pay for it. The rioters should. If you have committed a crime, therefore you should then be arrested for committing a crime, and be summarily charged and prosecuted. If the evidence, of course, proves, then you should also serve a sentence of some kind. And I think that's
custodial.
I'm okay. I guess it depends on what you did, but yes, custodial is on the list depending on what you've done. But I think it's the message.
I mean, if it's civil disobedience, like you're just being a nuisance, maybe not.
The smashing the smashing, the burning. I'm pretty sure. Arson isn't legal. I'm almost certain nor is destroying private property.
It is illegal.
Nor is destroying private property, nor is looting or robbing up places.
Oh no, of course not.
So I'll be honest. It's not. And I know it's not. It's logical. But this is why I actually take an issue also with the police in your country, because you're not doing your job. You are there to, and I believe the term on the badge is protect and serve.
Yes.
Well, you. In Portland, have failed your city, and I'll be honest. Although I have seen some videos of, where are we again? Kenosha. Yes, that's it.
You can just say Wisconsin if it's easier.
I'll say Kenosha. In Kenosha, and I'll be honest. I've seen some videos of unmarked vans arresting people. That's okay, fine. But I don't know. I feel like the police. Yes, police reform is a big subject, and many support it. But the police aren't even doing their job when they should be now. What are they doing? All sat outside Dunkin' Donuts, hiding in fucking riot gear, thinking, "Nah, I'm not touching that, fam."
Well, in Portland, the issue was that the
Is
mayor had literally the mayor and the governor basically had told them to stand down.
the issue is though,
Do you
isn't it? It's still
remember some
ongoing,
of
isn't it?
some of the Virginia rallies, the rallies that happened like post Charlottesville, that happened in like Berkeley, and there were just pictures of cops just standing around while the fucking street was full of fighting.
Yes, I recall that.
That was a lot of the same situation, because what you ended up having right there was an instance of all these people being able to fully exact their ideological revenge on each other, but the ideology of the person in charge of the police basically said no, and like that new awful Godzilla movie, they said let them fight.
Before we continue, April, Kenosha is how it's pronounced apparently. Thank you for the correction.
Ew.
Greatly appreciated.
Disgusting.
Although I think Kenobi sounds a lot better. Carry on.
All right, well, Kenosha.
It's just a correction.
I live in the South, so all I can think of is that sounds like a very unique name for a woman who works at Wendy's.
Should we just call Kenosha Wendy's?
No. That's my own terrible joke.
Oh, okay. I wish I understood
Because
it.
I'm terribly inappropriate and wrong. But okay, so we had all of this go on, and now I want to talk about the gentleman who got into the
the 17-year-old.
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. Twitter announced today something. It was trending, and I'm not sure what I think about this because I don't fully understand what happened. So, but who is the boy in question? I know he was doing some cleanup duty earlier in the day of graffiti. Mm-hmm. That's all I know about him and the shots fired issue. But go ahead.
So his name is Kyle Rittenhouse. He's a 17-year-old from Antioch, Illinois, which is about 20 minutes from Kenosha. And he was there by his own account to protect and serve the businesses and clean up graffiti and do those things.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm going to give you the 10,000-foot overview, and then we're going to go into the context, because it's easier to do it that way.
Okay.
He found himself in a bit of trouble. According to the video that circulated on Twitter just 2 or 3 days ago, you see him on the ground, and then another person goes up and attacks him with a skateboard.
Oh.
And at this time, the 17-year-old is wielding a long gun. So, AR or something of the sort.
Okay.
AR is just a word that apparently that the normies will use. But we'll just call it a long gun. And he gets hit. And he shoots the guy.
Oh.
And then after that guy gets shot, another guy comes up. And that guy gets shot.
Yeah.
Now, allegedly, beforehand, before this video actually, took place, apparently the guy had shot somebody beforehand, and that was why they were calling out to this gentleman, "Get him! He just shot somebody." Apparently, the story behind that is that there was actually gunfire before he shot the first time. And so, in his concern, there was actually a person shooting a gun in his general direction, as he was, at least the media has called him, a part of a militia group.
Is he?
And I guess I wouldn't call it that, but sure.
Okay, so what happened next?
Right, so, in the end, Kyle shot 3 people. 2 of them are dead. 1 of them is injured.
Is the one that was injured the one with the picture everyone's seen? That one on the screen now with an arm?
I think that's the one that, yeah, he's still alive.
Did he lose his arm?
He's definitely not going to be able to use it again. Man, the bicep was like hanging by a tendon.
Sorry, F in the chat for the bicep boy.
Oh, it's okay. You know what's really funny, actually, about all the people that he shot?
What's
Each
funny?
one of them was either a violent criminal or a sex offender.
You're kidding.
What are the fucking odds of that?
He killed 2 violent sex offenders. I'm not saying.
Yeah,
I'm not saying. By the way, I'm
one
just
of
to
them's
say.
name is Anthony Huber.
Okay, I just want to say for the sake of it, I can't because it just doesn't. I can't support the death of a sex offender. I know many of you will, but I want it on public record. Public record.
I will.
Like for
I
the
will go on
record.
public record saying sex
Great,
offenders should
but
die.
I, a Megon, will not support that. And yes, I do want. I might make a Streamlabs goal actually to get a new chair because this one squeaks a lot.
Oh, mine too. Don't worry.
Well, it bugs some people. I know it bugs Gimpy, but yeah, it's one of those things I'll sort out. But it's quite it's interesting odds, but I feel like that might be a minor distraction from what happened, and that's really important.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's actually that far off in terms of of the strike of luck rather. I don't think it was.
Okay.
And here's why. You have people who are at a riot.
Yeah.
Right? And they know over the last 90 days, they know that what they're going to attend is a riot. They know it's not going to be a protest. It had already started, right? The protest part was over.
Trups, stop.
The riot part had begun.
Thank you, Coincidence, for the $5 donation. Don't you love it to Trups LP?
Oh, I do.
Thank you, Coincidence. Thank you. Carry on. Sorry, I thought.
It's the best kind of coincidence because I don't pretend to be the arbiter of karmic justice, but when the world shows me something beautiful, like violent criminals and convicted sex offenders getting shot after them doing something wrong, I do smile a bit, and I am a bit sadistic in that sense.
Do you think this kid's gonna lose sleep over this? Because I think you've still killed.
Lose sleep, you said?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it'll mentally affect him killing 2 people.
Yes. After he did it, he actually called the police and said, "I think I just killed somebody."
Oh, did he? Oh, that's very good of him.
No, honestly, that's the greatest thing about this person, because the more you look into him, first of all, 17-year-old with a long gun who decided he wanted to go and help his community. I'm sorry, but the framing of this is just too good.
Is he
I'm going to use the framing of it in the best way possible. 17-year-old sees the riots and the looting and decides he wants to go and protect his community. So he travels 20 minutes with a long gun and helps clean up graffiti and to protect local businesses.
Others, April in the chat's pointed out the shooter came up from Chicago. His parents brought him here. Do we hold the parents responsible? Too. Is Chicago quite close to where this is?
I don't know, but I know that he's from Antioch, which I'm not sure necessarily Illinois is like all of their stuff, but Antioch is in Illinois, so.
Okay. I don't know your geography. I do apologize.
That's okay. I hardly do either. It's kind of a big country, especially when you have so many goddamn fucking cities.
And Nuke will fix that.
The framing of it is just too good, and so he's doing all these good things, and in the situation in which he is doing this, a scuffle breaks out, bullets are fired, and he retaliates, shooting 1, 2, and then 3 convicted criminals / sex offenders.
Well, so the one that lives, is that one a sex offender or is that a different criminal?
Okay, so the one who lived doesn't get mentioned as much. Hang on. let me see here. The lone shooting victim was Gage Gross Kreutz.
That's a unique
I
name.
literally don't know how to. I don't know how to pronounce these fucking letters. Okay.
Let's just call him Gross. It does feel a bit German, doesn't it? That's what I thought when I heard you say it.
Kraut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Sam Parker on Twitter. Gage Gross Kreutz is also a felon. Let's see. What were his felonies? Burglary, theft, criminal trespass, and disorderly conduct. Yeah. Okay. So he had a level 5 a F level felony, an A level misdemeanor, an A level misdemeanor, and a B level misdemeanor.
You're scaling. What do they mean? I don't know what that is.
So basically, it was burglary of a building, theft of movable property, criminal trespass, and disorderly conduct.
Pretty minor, to be fair. And yes, that bicep shot was something. I saw that clip, and I thought it bounced off his skin because the way it sort of sprayed. You know, it was such a grainy video that I saw. It just looked like it bounced off him. I was very confused.
Also, he was armed with a firearm while intoxicated at one point.
Oh no.
And he was also the one who moved in on Kyle Rittenhouse with a gun. He was the one who pulled out a fucking gun. You can literally see it in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So Anthony Huber, I believe this one was skateboard dude. Yeah, this is the skateboard guy. By the way, there's some good ass fucking memes about all this shit. Don't skate on me, thank you. His rap sheet includes second-degree reckless endangerment, use of a dangerous weapon, domestic abuse, strangulation, and suffocation. So the first count is use of a dangerous weapon, domestic abuse, and that counts as second-degree reckless endangerment. Second count is strangulation and suffocation. Modifier is domestic abuse, false imprisonment, use of a dangerous weapon. 4, battery. 5, disorderly conduct. 6, another disorderly conduct. Yeah. So this guy was just an asshole. That was Anthony Huber, aka Skateboard Dude. And Joseph Rosenbaum. That was the other one who died.
And what
Holy fuck. Sorry, I just looked at his rap sheet and it's huge.
Oh, is it? Okay, we'll find the worst one, okay?
The worst one? Sexual actions with a minor?
Okay. I think we got the gist.
Yeah, I would say that one's probably the worst one, yeah. Arson's pretty bad too, but I kind of go with the first one.
I'd go with the first one, yes.
Yeah, that's just me. Yeah, that's a fun one. So, he's dead. Yeah, sexual conduct with a minor.
F. No, don't deserve an F.
No, not F. Fuck him.
Sorry, I was confused. I thought we were talking about the man's bicep. I was confused.
Nope, don't give a fuck about that guy either.
Hang on a second.
But, you know...
Viper Sword, funding for a new chair. Also, hope you're well. Thank you very much for the incredibly generous £50 donation.
With a skater boy? I like that portrait seal. Very good, very good. I thought if you were a felon, you weren't allowed to have a gun. Yeah, it's almost like these people who do repeatedly illegal things don't follow the law. Weird.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, I'll give you that. Oh, sorry.
You know, and this is actually more along the lines of what I was getting at. You go to a riot, you know it's gonna be a riot. You've seen it for the past 90 days. The odds that this guy who went there to actually stop everything and to, like, actually, you know, defend the community, the odds that he shoots felons, I would say, is actually the highest possible. Because he literally attended hey, it's a buffet for felons.
Okay.
I want to mention that arson is a felony if it's done in certain places.
Duly noted. So he drops 3 people. What
Yep.
happens next?
So he's actually being charged.
I think we skipped a little. Just a
Oh,
little.
you mean like literally what happened?
Yeah, where everyone
Like
ran
right
away.
after.
People ran
He
away.
left. He like disappeared. He called the cops, told them that he probably just shot somebody, and then he evaded the cops for a bit. And then he basically he was either found or turned himself in. I don't remember which.
That was what I wanted to focus on for a second.
Yeah. But he called a friend to say that he killed somebody apparently. And that was the first. That was before the other 2 people got shot. That was the first one.
I did see the memes, Socky. Some of those were brutal. Very impressive.
I have one of them that's literally a picture of like a Fallout Pip-Boy.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And it's so fucking funny. And it really shows how sick we all are in the head a little bit.
Yeah, I tend to agree, actually. I think... So, he's been charged. That's what we know.
Yes. I'm trying to find exactly what he was charged with. I believe it was first-degree murder.
Do you
but
think
I think
anything will
come pull the self-defense one?
Yeah, I think the video... People make a lot of semantics arguments on this.
But homicide and attempted homicide.
The way it looks is self-defense. And under circumstances, I can understand. I think it depends on how people are going to play it now. Are they willing to... I think it's when people start to weigh up the people involved and the circumstance. The video footage will be very useful. It is good evidence. I'm not sure how they're gonna manage to make it stick to make him guilty. I don't quite understand. I don't think they can. Based on what we
at
see.
least according to the CNN thing, this is to address the chat real quick. Apparently, according to CNN, Rittenhouse is facing 2 felony charges of homicide in the death of Rosenbaum and Huber, and a felony attempted homicide charge in Grosskreutz incident. Court records show he's also being charged with the possession of a dangerous weapon while under the age of 18, which is a misdemeanor.
I thought where he was at 17 anyway.
Okay, so yes, but he crossed state lines, which might. Yeah, so there are legal like. Red tape you got to kind of navigate through and kind of swim through all the bullshit. Okay. But I mean, some of those might stick, but at that point, like if that's the thing that you're gonna get at 17, open carrying, it probably won't harm him too bad.
I would hate to see...
if he gets convicted on the felony homicide, that'll fuck him up.
I watched the video. To me, it came across as self-defense, but at the same time, I can understand why others would say otherwise, of course. But I would hate to see someone's life utterly destroyed because of what appeared to be self-defense. But this person, as Lloyd has correctly pointed out in the chat, it's going to be trial by media, and they're going to do everything they can because they're cunts to absolutely flay the child. Look what they did to the was that smiling kid. To the point he ended up giving speeches at the RNC.
Well, you'd think they would actually learn their lesson after messing that one up.
That one was a huge cock up, and they absolutely ruined that kid. It was an expensive cock up, but they still did it, and it was really stupid. And they're going to do it to this kid as well.
I don't think they're going to be able to though, because look, there is a lot you have to contend with this one. I mean, you're looking at a guy, a 17-year-old who went to a protest to clean, who ended up killing 2 felons and injuring another, and also in the realm of self-defense. It's gonna be a hard one. This is all information that we know within the week. You know how like the problem with the Covington kids was that for like a month we didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Okay.
They were just basically spouting conjecture, and the media just kind of ran with the fact that no one knew what was happening.
So, the kid is called Nick. Nick Sandman, as correctly pointed out in the chat. Or it says Ike. It's Nick, the Covington Catholic teen. His lawyer has set up a legal defense fund to help Kyle Rittenhouse to obtain justice. That's
Yep.
Yeah. They're saying they'll do it pro bono, and I know that Kyle Rittenhouse has threatened CNN and Washington Post to take him to court again after people started tweeting about speculation about the settlement in that $250 million lawsuit. Probably shouldn't be talking about that, Just saying.
83 million, by the way.
Is that how much he got?
Yeah.
Is that how much he got, or what Washington Post and all that he had to pay someone else?
That was what the settlement was for CNN. The confidential. You're not supposed to know this information. Yeah, someone found out.
What? Hang on. Is that how much CNN or Washington? Yeah. Is that how much they all paid Sandman, or they paid others?
Yeah, 83 million.
He got 83 million.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
It's not, isn't it?
Hey, that's an expensive loss. That's well, yeah. Okay then. Guess he doesn't need a job.
For real.
Okay. Well, moving on from that.
But
I guess.
Hey, you know what? I'm, good on him. Honestly, and honestly, I think the amount of shit this child at the time went through.
Yeah.
Because it was a good story on CNN. I don't even consider like the 83, the monetary value that he got will never replace the year that he basically had to deal with the fact that adults were calling him a racist. Certain ones said that they wanted to beat him up. And he endured all this lying and this slander and this libel, and nobody legitimately gave a fuck about what happened to this kid afterwards. So honestly, I don't even give a fuck that, like, he gets this money. He still will never be able to be that age again and not have to worry about that. Regardless of what ends up happening, monetarily, you kind of forced a kid into the limelight because of your, fucking lust for a news story. So I don't feel sympathy.
Oh, I don't either. Washington Post and CNN can do one. Yeah, I believe. What do you call them? Fake. Oh, what is that word?
Fake news?
Maybe.
I don't know. That's kind of where I'm going with this. And I don't think they can do that to Kyle Rittenhouse, to be honest with you, because the news has flown so fast. And I'll remind you of something that I had said early on, was that riots are no longer, like, there are liberal pundits out there. Even Don Lemon said that riots need to stop because it's impacting the polls.
Yeah, they're not thinking about the big picture, and I think that's amazing. Because they really. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think any of these people. I don't think any of these people actually care about who the president is, because I don't think they think that's the biggest issue. The biggest issue is the racial injustice. So they're completely willing to forget what is apparently important to them in favor of destroying shit. And you're right about the news, because I did notice a fair few articles I saw, in fact, were pointing out what he was doing, Kyle Rittenhouse, that is, during that day, where he was removing graffiti and working with people, which might be tricky to spin in a negative light when already he looks like an okay person.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they'll be able to do it, at least not as the media has basically asserted it now. It's almost too late for them to make this kid, um, a news story in a negative light. It's almost too late for that now. But we'll see, honestly, because I've seen them do worse things,
Okay.
honestly. And when I say that, I mean the media, obviously. The
Okay.
media hasn't really ever cared in the last 2 years what they say and who they say it about. As long as it gets their ratings and gets people to click on their articles, which obviously you and I both are kind of unfortunate, contributors to this because we cover this shit. Um, we're essentially feeding them too, which is it's kind of just a consequence of what we do. Um,
Creek.
but as long as they keep getting traffic to these articles, they're not gonna stop.
Creek.
And I don't foresee that at any point they're going to take a moment of introspection and go, "Are we the baddies?" I legitimately don't think it's possible for them. I have such a disdain for who they are and what they pretend to stand for that I have lost so much faith in what the original media has been, especially in the wake of these protests. I mean, CNN, the classic, fucking fiery but peaceful. I'm literally just going to say whenever I talk about CNN, fiery but peaceful. I don't know, but this is the state of American politics right now, and it's not looking like it's going to change anytime soon.
Some
We
of the,
can only hope that when Trump gets reelected, uh, that he can actually do the law and order thing, and it's gonna. I guarantee you, if that happens, they are going to pull out every fucking stop on him, and they're going to accuse him of every possible thing because they're going to be like, oh, he's going full authoritarian. He's going to do all the bad things. I'm telling you right now, if Trump is allowed, I'm going to say allowed to win, they're going to do it.
there are some things that might help him, I guess. One was the discussion of no debates, which I think they have to happen. And I know Nancy Pelosi put out a very meme-worthy video saying that he is the least presidential person and therefore is not worthy of a debate, implying they're the A side when he's, well, by definition, the A side of the debate. And it's also one of those things that has to happen realistically. What was there? Was something else? I've completely forgotten. Sorry.
Pelosi things.
Eric V in the chat loves you, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you.
By saying this dude is delusional as hell. That's you. I think
me?
Yeah, you.
I'm delusional as hell.
It's such a difficult one, really, isn't it?
Allowed to win. Yeah, the reason why I say allowed to win is because right now the Democrats have basically laid the framework.
Right. I remember what it was now. There's another commentator. She does lots of politics called Bridget Fetisi. I put her on in the background because I need noise, and she mentioned she's not going to vote, and she put out a little thing explaining why. And the point was, it doesn't matter who wins. In her mind, this country loses regardless. And I kind of get the point, because I'm an outsider, so all I see is this mess. Many latch on to the fact that when it comes to coronavirus, others say that many say, obviously for obvious reasons, that Trump failed to tackle or deal with coronavirus, much like Boris Johnson in my country failed. In hindsight, which I don't think is at all productive, but it is, of course, what most would use for, well, why not, I guess. And that is a level of sarcasm, please understand that.
No.
Others point out that when Obama was in office, the economy was, I believe, constantly growing or something. I don't know if that's true or not. If it was, that's impressive. But I think everyone understood when coronavirus hit, the country was always going to suffer. And I don't genuinely believe there was going to be a way around this that wouldn't cost jobs. We've had it in our country where we've offered money up to give keep people in work, and the companies have taken the money and then said, right, we're making them redundant the moment the money runs out. And people are, and that's
true.
So we knew the economy, there was going to be a global recession. I don't blame anyone for that. How people handle it, sure, they haven't done it well. I don't know if others would have handled it well enough or done well enough with it, and it's really tricky. So I don't like the idea of blaming. I don't know if it's right to blame Trump for the economy going down when the economy was going to go down with coronavirus anyway. And I don't know if he could have stopped the flow. I know there's a lot of science denial that could certainly be debated. It's a tricky one. It's really tricky. But I do think if you're going to hammer Trump for anything, which you should do in debates, it probably should be for the handling of coronavirus. Problem is, and it's the big problem actually, why I don't think a debate could work in his favour, is that even though Trump's a massive man-child, when he, you know what I mean. I don't mean that to be derogatory. It's just he has these moments. It's very funny.
No, how dare you? I care about him so much.
You know what I mean, though, because he does
yes,
that. It's really funny to watch because it always is. He's a very entertaining guy. He knows how to be entertaining by being a dick.
Yeah,
problem is,
he's more of an entertainer than
the problem is, as presidential as Biden might look, I don't know if he could actually hammer Trump unless he's practiced a retort. Before he and sat on that instead. I really don't. I'm not convinced because I've seen so many interviews now where he's just fumbled, and not just fumbled, but said things like, he's pigeonholed communities and labelled one as more diverse than the other. I mean, okay, Trump says some stupid shit, but how is that any more presidential? It's really funny.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know I don't even know when Bridget says, your country's a mess and will be regardless of who wins. I kind of get it, but I really don't know. I'm not sure if Biden can beat. I'm not convinced yet that he can beat Trump, yet. But the riots, I don't know how they're going to work because I don't see polls in your country. Of course I don't. It's far too big, and I don't have the time. But I'm very interesting. I'll do bad with Corona. I tend to agree. But Boris did here as well. It's a hindsight thing, though. I don't think it's in the long term productive. I think we should just accept it was handled bad, and now try and seek to rebuild upon it. I think accepting you did it bad might also help a little, just a little.
Holding on to the idea that he did bad and he needs to be punished for it doesn't help for the idea of progress.
That's why I tend to think, accept it. Right now, let's perhaps move on a lot more. Try and do rebuild. The problem is with these protests, I don't know how these affect the polls, which is really interesting to me because I saw some of the protesters smashing windows and people shouting through the windows. By doing this, you're giving Trump another 4 years, and they're not happy to say that. They're not happy to say it, and that's really tragic because it's clearly. It tells you that many don't care, about what's going on the political stage and how that's supposed to impact them positively if Trump isn't in office, which is crap anyway because I'm not entirely convinced Biden will get much done. He'll probably resign early in anyway, which wouldn't surprise me. And I'm not sure. No offense to Kamala Harris, but I do want to. I could also pull on what Tulsi Gabbard said that absolutely ruined her initial run about what she did for prisoners in California, which was, I believe, more commonly known as slavery, and I also believe injustice. Most of this country supports BLM, and the older among us have witnessed what they are writing about. I think they won't have an impact on anyone but the Trump apologists. I will wait.
Support for BLM has been dropping since late July.
Okay, I don't know any of this, so I will take both your words for it and let you joust at sunrise.
Well, I think I'll joust next week because it is a little past 5:30, and I do have to actually run back to work.
Okay. I will call it then, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have anything to shill?
Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming Euro Truck Simulator on a Megon Plays. I'm not going to link the channel. I can't be bothered. I'm sure if my mods are interested enough or can be bothered more than I can, they'll do it for me. Otherwise, no. I'm going for a bike ride tomorrow on my own because my brother-in-law's not here and I'm really bored. It's no computer day. What about yourself?
Well, I've got nothing. I'm going to work, so I don't got shit.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, people. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you also, by the way, for the donations. And also, Eric, yeah, I do appreciate that. I like a bit of banter anyway, so I'm more than happy. And Trups gets shit all the time, so it's even better.
Oh, I'm so used to it. It's not even a big deal.
Where's the Ufio answer to really hammer that nail in?
I had a guy in here that was like 45. His name was literally 45 lines.
Oh yeah,
he's the 45th president. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so much fun.
Man, you deserve it. You're a hate monger. You're a child.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for joining, people.
All right. Say good night, Meg.
Good night, Meg.